All right, so you may have been watching me for a while, and if you have, you probably think, well, all she loves to work with is leather. But that's not actually true. My first love is wire. Now, back in the day when I had my store, I used to love teaching all kinds of different wire classes. We made pendants and pins and I mean, you name it. And over time, I just sort of drifted away and got more into leather. But my first love was and always will be wire. I love being able to manipulate it and create some really unique things. And so I thought, let's go back a little bit to my roots. So I'm going to show you how to make this really super quick and easy pendant. You don't have to be an expert at making wire wrapped loops or anything because if it's sort of got an organic feel to it, that's perfectly fine. So what we're going to be using today is some 20 gauge dead soft craft wire. So you want to make sure that you're always using dead soft wire. Otherwise you'll end up with kinks in your wire and then it just doesn't look very good. Now this will be available in kit form and there's going to be 2 different colorways. And at the very end, I'll show you the second colorway. So for this one, I'm using a 20 gauge vintage bronze. And then I have one of these crystal points, but this is the one that has like the flatter end on the top. I have a larger crystal, just a Chinese crystal, and I have 2 different sizes of check glass rondelles. Now, if you don't buy a kit and you want to create this at home, this is a really good stash buster. All you need is some kind of an end if you want to have a crystal point. We do sell all these sort of things on their own, and you just need some 20 gauge wire. You're also going to need a ruler, and then we'll be using our 4 basic tools. We'll be using our chain nose pliers, our round nose pliers, our bent chain nose pliers, and a pair of cutters. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is just measure off some wire. And I've found that about 20 inches or so is just about enough. Sometimes I'll use a little bit more, but I've been trying to be a little bit more, economical these days instead of wasting supplies. All right, so let me get the extra things out of the way for you. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire and we're going to place it through the hole on the point. So this is not easy to do under camera. So let me get some of the things out of the way because we've got, I've got a camera down fairly low and the wire hits it. So I'm going to bring out about a good healthy 2 inches on one side and the longer piece on the other. So what I want to do now is bring this up and over, and I'm going to actually bring it across the top, and then I'm going to do that with the other short one. So I'm going to bring it across and bring it across like that. I'm just trying to make sure I am on camera. So again, my wire's getting all hooked up there. So you can see that now we've got a nice cross section here. So that's what we want. And we want that cross to be right in the middle of our point. So now I'm going to take a pair of my chain nose pliers, and I want to bring my point of my pliers right to the point of the crystal point. It's a lot of points there. So I want to bring it to the middle, and then I'm going to, sometimes it's a little hard because this one's in the way, but what I'm going to do is bring this, and I've got to get it out of the way there. Just trying to manipulate it on camera. So what I want to do now is take this and bend it straight up. So I've got my short one here, which we're going to be wrapping with in a minute. And then I've got my long one coming out of the middle of the crystal point. And if it's not an exact middle, don't worry because we can camouflage. So now you are going to need a little bit of a good hand grip here because we're dealing with 20 gauge wire. But it's not super stiff. So what I want to do is get that locked in. This is kind of the most important step right now, is getting that locked in nice and tight. And then I'm just going to wrap around a couple times. And again, if it's not perfect, that doesn't matter at all because this is not meant to be a perfect science. This is going to be an organic kind of wrapped thing. So now I'm going to take the flush side of my cutters and I'm going to come in there, trim that off. And then I'm just going to take my pliers and just kind of press that down so that's no longer sticking out. So this is what we've got so far. And you can see mine kind of drifted over a little bit to the right there or to the left, depending on which way you're looking at it. It doesn't matter because it's not going to show in the end. All right, so now we're going to place on our beads. So I've got one of my small check glass, a little bit larger check glass, and then I have my large crystal. And then I'm going to go backwards and just go like that. And then I'm going to run that down to my crystal point. This is actually an amethyst. It's a real amethyst point. I think everybody calls them crystal points, so I'm not sure why. You know, maybe because of the obvious, it has a point there. Anyway, okay, so you kind of have to think about which way you want this to be shown when you're wearing it as a pendant. And I sort of think that this looks like my front. So now I want to be able to put something like a piece of leather or a chain or something through it. So I want to have my loop going opposite to the front here. So I don't want my loop to go in this direction. I want it to go in this direction. So the way that I achieve that is by taking my pliers and placing it on the front this way, making sure that the front of my piece is facing me. And I'm just going to bend away. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers. Just want to make sure you guys are just seeing this and nothing else there. And I want to have sort of a decent size loop. So I'm going to go part way up my pliers and I'm just going to create a wrap loop. So up and over and down, rotate my pliers and then pull that to the back. So this is sort of the only part that you really want to kind of make sure is, you know, looking nice. And it will get kind of bent up and stuff as we go along, but it's wire, we can move it around. So now I'm going to get a good hand grip on the loop that I have there. And just using my hand, I'm going to lock that in and start wrapping. And I'm going to wrap down until I come to the back side of this bead. So now again, we got to figure out which one is our front. So this is our front. So I'm going to bring that around one more time because I'll show you in a sec here. So I'm going to bring that around there because this is going to be, sorry, this wire is everywhere. Okay, so this is going to be our front like that. So I want the wire coming from behind and over that top bead. So in order to do that, I had to sort of do one more wrap. So now what I'm going to do is go across that bead, around that bead, bring it to the back and repeat. So making sure I'm on camera, I find it easiest to hold on to up here. So I'm going to bring it across that bead. So you can see that both of these wires are going across that and go all the way around and come to the back. There we go. So now can you see that? So just kind of being mindful that I'm sort of staying on the top there. And now I'm going to come across the big bead, go around all the way, and then come to the back, go across that bead, around all the way to the back, and then around that bead and all the way to the back. So now we've basically completed our wrap. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of make this a little bulkier on the bottom. And this is where you can kind of hide anything that isn't kind of looking like you wanted it to. And we can just run all this excess wire around until you're happy with what it's created. And that looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to use the flush side of my cutters. And I'm going to come in there. And then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to gently sort of press down the back wire there to make sure that it stays in there. I just want to be mindful that I'm not sort of wrecking anything in the front. So now you can see it's like kind of off-centered a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of manipulate it around and make sure that everything's nice and straight. And that's what we ended up with. We've got a really cute little pendant. So let me grab the other one that I've got here, and then I'm going to give you a couple ideas of what you can do with this pendant. All right, so here's the two pendants that I have available. And like I said, these will be available in kit form. And to access the kits, you just go down to the description box below this video, and it'll take you directly to a link at my website. So we've got a green aventurine, and I've got some more check glass beads, and then I've got a cube bead here, which is kind of fun. And then we've got the amethyst one. So now you can do a couple different things with them. You could just hang a ribbon through there and hang it off your rear view mirror, or put it in a window if you wanted sort of a like a sun catcher kind of look. But because these aren't super long, like this is now about, these are about 3 inches, they make the perfect pendant. So one of the things you can do is just, you could put something like ball chain in there. So now we're only going to provide you with the whatever you need to make your pendant, and then you can make it into a necklace or whatever you want. But I think like simple ball chain with just the ball chain connectors on the end would be super cute. Look at that, how nice that would be. The other thing you could do is, like on this one, I've got a piece of 2mm leather. You could put leather on there, and easily, you know, hang it from a piece of leather. So there's lots of different options, and you can see it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of a fun, organic way to put some beads on a fun little pendant, and super easy to whip up. If you're doing craft shows this Christmas season, this would be a super great one as a bit of a stash buster, or something just really quick and easy to put on your table. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It's fun getting back to my roots. I'm going to try and come up with a few more wire wrapped ones, because they really are my first love. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. Make sure to leave me a comment and tell me which one you're going to try. Are you going to try, you know, something that's got the sort of a dark, broody look, or are you going to try a bit of a bit more glammy kind of look? And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you do so, as it really does help it out. I want to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.